we start this video, let's talk about what SDF cooked up in the last week. Removing solos and duos from normals, I like that. It's a good way to consolidate queues without completely breaking the game. But then they want to remove solos and duos from high roller as well, and that's bad. Like really bad. In most team multiplayer games, everyone is united by one goal. In League of Legends, it's to destroy the enemy nexus. In Valorant, it's to win 13 rounds, and in Rocket League, it's to score as many goals as possible. What is your goal in Dark and Darker? It's different for each person. You might want to loot some chests in ruins, but your teammates want to farm bosses. You might want to PvP for gear, but your teammates are going down to Inferno to pick some life leaves because they saw a YouTube video. Random matchmaking just doesn't work in a game where there's no common goal. The alternative? Solo queuing into a trio environment, and that's obviously a non-starter. Maybe 2 years ago, when everyone had 200 hours in the game, that could still work. Nowadays, it's too competitive, and will force players even more to play like rats. SDF isn't a good game dev, that much is obvious. Anyways, I learned how to solo kill a Warlord on Double Jump Rogue, and now you can too. A few things to note before we get into it. This guide will break down the fight into simple steps, and it will only focus on practical things that you do during each step. A few warnings you need to be aware of. I often cut corners when I learn things, so you will likely pick up some bad habits. Lots of tips only apply to Double Jump Rogue. Okay. When you fight the Warlord, you need to remember the 6-step sequence he does. He bombs the room, he summons mobs, he puts down a pie slice, and then mobs do stuff. It happens twice. He summons crystals, he starts attacking. When he's bombing the room, a white circle appears, and you just need to wait in it until the explosion finishes. After the explosion, he will summon mobs and then put down a pie slice. The mobs themselves die to 4 or 5 rondel hits, and have only one attack that you just need to strafe right to dodge against. But after each pie slice the Warlord puts down, the mobs will do 2 special attacks. The first one is a teleport in behind lunge attack, while this one, if you are simply moving around, it can't hit you. The second one, which happens about 4 seconds after the teleport attack, is the knife throw. I recommend getting a bit of distance between yourself and the mobs, and then jumping parallel of them. This whole sequence is a very important part to get right, since 2 pretty bad things can happen if you don't. The mobs you don't kill at the end of the sequence explode and buff the Warlord, making him move and attack faster. And if you don't put pie sizes close to each other, they can completely grief you and limit your movement during the fight, which arguably is way worse than the first problem. So what do you actually do? I'll just show how I do the sequence and give you the thought process. Warlord bombs the boss. I walk to the treasure room door. Don't ask me why, it's just how it is. Then boss summons the mobs. While they're coming from the ground, I use this time to kill one of the soldiers. After Warlord puts down the first slice, I now know the next attack is a teleport lunge attack. I also know that I only need to strafe right to dodge the simple attacks, and I know that pie slices need to be next to each other. So combining all that, all we need to do is circle the mob group counterclockwise. This allows me to effortlessly dodge all the mob's attacks while doing maximum damage to them, but it's also good for another reason. After the knife throw, Warlord will repeat this sequence again by first putting down the second slice. And since we were circling the mobs, we are already pretty close to the first slice, so now we can angle ourselves so that the slices are next to each other, which will make the fight a lot easier. After the sequence repeats the second time, any surviving mobs will explode and buff the Warlord. Ideally, you want to kill all of them, but it's not always possible, and you should never risk getting blown up to try to finish all of them. Instead, you should be thinking about the next step. So go to the side opposite of the treasure room door, since this is the farthest away from where you put the pizza slices. This is where a crystal always spawns. The other 2 spawn on the other side. If you can get here before the crystal spawns, kill it. It usually takes 6 hits. Otherwise, simply stand behind it before the boss starts attacking you. Since the crystals rotate clockwise, behind simply means a bit to the right of it. This lets you kind of forget about the crystals and just focus on the boss fight. Now, let's talk about the boss fight itself. If you want to know the attacks themselves, watch Orion's 6 days a week video, but I will give a very simple tip I learned from Shyman. Shout out Shyman. Boss has 2 simple attacks and then a bunch of spin attacks. The 2 simple attacks are the overhead swipe, which you just jump to the right to dodge, and then the knife throw, which if you're double jump rogue, you simply dodge by double jumping. Now, to dodge the spin attacks, you only need to pay attention to one thing, which is the way the Warlord faces when he starts them, which is why I like to stand directly up close and in front of the boss after each attack, so it's easier to see. If he faces forward, he's doing the horizontal slash, so you just crouch and look down. If he's facing left, you just crouch and circle left. If he's facing right, you just crouch and circle right. It's that simple. If at this point you didn't kill him, he will repeat the whole thing again, and while you're standing in a circle waiting for the explosion, use this time to think where you would be clearing mobs. Ideally, you want to be behind a crystal next to a pie slice. So if you just started learning this boss, it might be overwhelming, so here are my priorities that I focus on. At the top, you need to have pie slices close to each other. Then, maximize damage on mobs, destroy crystals, but never at the cost of damage to the boss. Now, if you're playing double jump rogue, 1 or 2 crystals don't really do anything to you, since you can just double jump over them. But it's still nice to destroy them if you have nothing else to do. Happy hunting. They buff loot too, you know, so might be the perfect time to learn some bossing. 7% action speed cloak. It is as dead can be. Also, there's a druid right there, apparently. Down. Bro, I got 3 names today, didn't I? Bro, I swear I'm getting, like, I got a named up top, and I got another name.